2, 3, mic test.
Yes, stand up.
What do I say? 1, 2, 3, mic test.
Awesome. That's good. You too. You can say 1, 2, 3, Apollo, mic test.
Come on, come on. Hurry so we can, we need to practice. You want to try? Okay, you judge against it.
Okay.
Take a stand up.
Hello? Hello?
You don't have to. Say hello.
Hello?
It's just places at one time I'd be with you tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. If the world should stop with all things spinning slowly down to die, I'd spend the end with you. And when the world was through, then one by one the stars would all go out. Then you and I would simply fly away.
Talking to myself and behold. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but cry. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down. What I think is nothing really wrong. Feeling like I don't belong. Walking around some kind of lonely cloud. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down. Funny, but it seems I always wind up here with you. Nice to know somebody loves me. Funny, but it seems that it's the only thing to do. Run and find the one who loves me. What I feel is gone before. No need to talk it out. We know what it's all about. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down. Funny, but it seems that it's the only thing to do. Run and find the one who loves me. What I feel is come and gone before. No need to talk it out. We know what it's all about. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down. sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way, talking it over, just the two of us, working together day to day, together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow. And yes, we've just begun. Sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way, talking it over, just the two of us, working together day to day, together, together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow. And yes, we've just begun. When I was young, I listened to the radio, waiting for my favorite songs. When they played, I'd sing along. It made me smile. Those were such happy times, and not so long ago. How I wondered where they'd gone. But they're back again, just like a long lost friend. All the songs I love so well, every sha-la-la, every whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing is so fine. When they get to the part where he's breaking her heart, it can really make me cry, just like before. It's yesterday once more. Looking back on how it was in years gone by, and the good times that I had, makes today seem rather sad. So much has changed. It was songs of love that I would sing to them, and I'd memorize each word. Those old melodies still sound so good to me as they melt the years away. Every sha-la-la-la, yesterday once more. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every
And Aubrey was her name, and not so very ordinary name. But who's to blame for a for the hearts that never played into? Like a lovely melody that everyone can sing. Take away the words that rhyme, it doesn't mean a thing. And Aubrey was her name. We tripped the light and danced together till the moon. But where was June? No, it never came around. If it did, it never made a sound. Maybe I was absent or was listening too fast, catching all the words, but then the meaning going past. God, I miss the girl, and I'd go 1,000 times around the world just to be closer to her than to you. And Aubrey several ages older. Your eyes that still shine. The little girl's growing now. Was that you last crying on the radio, begging for a way to go back where life wasn't jumbled so? Oh no, things are different now than they were before. You know, love is more than kissing, a whole lot more. Put your dreams away and read your box of Cheerios and powder puff that pretty nose, and go out and find your man where the wild wind blows. Morning girl.
Tony Mutala. Thank you. Well sung. Tony Mutala, folks.
it's always centered around those we love. And I think about those people who mean so much to me. And so many so very and I count the times I have forgotten to say thank you. And just how much I love you. We've only just begun to live. White laces, promises, a kiss for life, and we're on our way.
We've only begun.
Before the rising sun, we fly. So many roads to choose. We start out walking and learn to run. Sharing horizons that are new to us. Watching the signs along the way. Talking it over, just the two of us. Working together day to day. Together. And when we come, this one. And since it's all true, how could anyone mean more to me than you are my heart and my soul, my inspiration, just like the old love song goes. You are one of the few things worth remembering. And since it's all true, how could anyone mean more to me than touch me in the morning, then just walk away. We don't have tomorrow, but we had yesterday. Wasn't it me who said that nothing good's gonna
Good evening, everyone. This is a very awkward situation. I've never been in this kind of a situation before. But let us start the night with a prayer, if I can ask you to please stand up, please. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord God, Almighty Father, you are a truly generous and loving God. You have witnessed all the struggles and challenges that Desi had to overcome, and in your infinite goodness, you have decided that it is time for her to come home. We entrust her into your hands, dear Father, knowing how much you love her and care for her. You promised her a mansion in your kingdom, and we feel so blessed that now she will be infinitely united with you. Her life was full and fulfilled, all because of your goodness, your majesty, and your mercy. Eternal rest grant unto Desi, O Lord. May her soul and all the souls of the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Please be seated. So once again, good evening to all of you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. To celebrate Desi's life. And greetings as well to all the rest of you viewing us on live stream from all over the world in your respective time zones. Tonight we will continue to hear from those closest to Desi, namely her own family, on how she had profoundly and indelibly touched our lives. But before we do that, I would quickly take this opportunity to thank certain people whose exceptional selflessness has made such a great impact on us, especially on me. Most of you, or many of you, are not aware, but we were in the process of moving to another home when we got all caught up in Desi's illness. She actually passed on the day we were supposed to move. First, I would like to thank my sister Effie and her husband Ed Garcia. They literally took charge of the packing. Every day they would come to the house to pack everything up, knowing how preoccupied we were with taking care of Desi. So thank you, Effie and Ed. Then I would like to thank my other sister, Christy, and her husband, Rafi Abasolo. Christy would actually sleep some nights, even the last night, at the hospital to relieve my daughter Kiss. Not to mention the days that she spent there making Desi as comfortable as possible. Rafi would help in the move as well and was actually at the new house supervising the cable guy when Desi passed. Thank you, Christy and Rafi. When you came in, I hope you noticed all the graphics outside and everything else that we used in the novena, the notifications, and the other announcements. They were all designed by Ayana de Ocampo, a girlfriend of Jed. Ayana is in Manila, and we coordinated with her remotely. Thank you, Ayana. But all this would be for naught if not for the persistent and incessant declaration of support and oneness by Desi's siblings, Nung Tony, Titos, Ai, Bembem, and Nico, as well as my own siblings not yet mentioned above, Connie, John, and Tony, and of course my mom, Inday. Lastly, I want to thank all my children, Kiss and Mark Ricafort, Lee and Rudy Sullivan, Mick and Janine Nery, and Jed Nery. The compassion, care, devotion, love, and utmost disregard of self that you have demonstrated overwhelms my heart, and without a doubt, facilitated Mom's transition to God's loving, serene, and joy-filled embrace. Thank you, my dear children. Mom is at peace and is where she deserves to be. So tonight we will proceed with a celebration of her life expressed by my children and grandchildren. And we will start with a video of my mom's own eulogy. Thank you.
Jessie was my dear daughter, and I am deeply saddened and pained about her passing. But I have to be brave. We all have to be brave. I remember Daisy as always happy. She was very charming. She had sweet disposition. When we went out, we would always end up laughing, sometimes in the street. Sige lang ning katawa. She was very funny that way. I remember Desi also as always helpful. When we went out shopping, I remember that she did not want to bargain too hard. Why? She knew that the vendors only made a little profit. She was very kind that way. But Daisy could and did make the hard decision. When they decided to emigrate, she told me, "It's hard to go, but we have to go." I believe that the Lord has since blessed their plans abundantly, and that moving to Canada prolonged their life. She also kept much of the pain away from her loved ones, especially from her mother Lily and from me. She was very brave that way. I only have good things to say about her. She was very helpful, took good care of her family and her friends, and always understanding. She was very full of joy, and I loved her. I had known her since she was a little girl, because Mario and I were together with Ed and Lily in the Christian family movement in Cagayan de Oro. It was a real happiness for us that she married Paco and became a full part of the of our family. I grieve that my daughter is now gone at the young age of 63. But I thank the Lord for the blessing she gives us with her life. Rest in peace, best love, Mama.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lee Sullivan. This is my husband, Rudy. And these are our 4 children, Joseph, Gabriel, Emmanuel, and Xavier. And Gabriel and Joseph would like to say a little something about their Nana.
Nana was a great Nana. She was an awesome cook, very kind, and the best storyteller. I really love that she's so funny. She told many stories, like the one about the crooked man who lived in a crooked house. I love when my brothers and I would go downstairs to watch shows with her. We would watch Northwood's Law, When Sharks Attack, and Chop. While watching Northwood's Law, she would say things to the TV, like, "Why are you doing that? That's against the law." And when we were watching When Sharks Attack, I would cover my eyes with her doggy stuffy when people were getting bitten by the sharks, while she covered her eyes with her hands. Nana was always supporting me in everything I do, like in soccer, speech arts, and many more. She always joked about how she would come with me to my soccer and be the goalie. A few days after she passed away, before she passed away, I had a dream that she actually was the goalie and she saved every goal, and we made it to a professional league. She would always tell me before a soccer game that my first goal should always be for her. She was always so protective of us that when I accidentally got poked in the eye while at school, she said she would find the person who poked me in the eye and poke him in the eye. I will miss her yummy champorado with bacon and condensed milk, and how she was always so kind and wanted to talk and spend time with me and my brothers. I remember using her karaoke machine with my cousins and sang Believer. We did it so well that we got 100 points, and Nana was very happy that we were there with her. My brothers and I would go downstairs to play pick-up sticks with Nana, and she would always get the black stick, which had the most points. I will miss going downstairs for breakfast, where she gives us cereal with milk and a twisty straw to finish the rest of the milk. Sometimes after breakfast, she would send my brothers and I back upstairs with a bowl full of guava. Nana, I want to tell you that I love you and I miss you. My first goal will always be for you. Thank you for all that you've done for me. You're the best Nana ever.
So Gabriel made one too, but he wants me to read it today. And it goes like this. My favorite memory of Nana is how she would always call me if there is something stuck under her bed. Sometimes she would drop her tub of cream and she would ask me to find it and pick it up with a flashlight and a back scratcher. She would always call me her baby, and it always made me feel so happy. I will miss the delicious fish that she makes. I would always eat the eyeballs of the fried fish. I would eat it with her downstairs because my mommy doesn't like the smell of the fish. I also enjoyed eating pancakes, guava, champurrado, and Werther's candy with her. Nana, I will always love you no matter what happens. Thank you for loving me so much. You will always be special to me because you really made me feel that you love me. I am also trying to learn your whistle. And I'm going to call my husband Rudy to share his eulogy.
Hello, everyone. Intuition, nurture, luto, angelic, whistle. No, this isn't my work password or the nickname of our 5 boys. Instead, these are 5 words that come to mind when I think about Ma Desi. I just called her Ma, but I wanted to make sure you knew who I was talking about. Intuition. The Webster's Dictionary, the definition is a quick and ready insight. This is the first word that comes to mind when I think of Ma, because it was her maternal intuition that changed the course of my life forever. The first instance was in April of 2008. My friend Pamela invited me to come to a Christian Life Seminar, CLS, for the community MFC, which was CFC FFL at the time. The CLS is an entry point to joining. Since my sister Rachel was already a member, I asked her to come for support. When I first walked into the gym and Ma saw me, she immediately thought that Lee would be a good match for me. Then she saw my sister and said, "Oh, too bad, he's already married." But the thoughts immediately resumed upon finding out that I was indeed single. The second instance was in February of 2010. I already had a love for snowboarding, and I was happy when Lee got into it too. A lot of our dates together included going to the mountain. We were able to plan a weekend with a couple of our friends to go up to Apex Mountain, which was a few hours drive away. Unfortunately, our 2 friends had to cancel last minute. Because of how kind and approachable Ma is, I was able to muster up the courage to ask her if it was okay if it was just Lee and I. Her intuition told her to let us go and she would tell Dad. She did ask me to promise that I would behave, and I kept my promise. So off we went, our first weekend trip together by ourselves, and it was on the last day that I proposed to Lee. So on the drive back, we called them to both to let them know the good news. And Ma, being who she was, calls back a few minutes later to tell Lee that Dad doesn't know it was just the two of us and to pretend we were with friends. Sorry, Dad, for not asking you to. Nurture. In the Webster's Dictionary, the definition is to further the development of. Ma wouldn't pass on an opportunity to teach my boys something. And it wasn't just specific to them, but to all their cousins and to everyone around her. She just loved helping anyone that needed help. What she taught may not always be correct or age appropriate, but the effort and love was always there. Just recently, Joseph shared with Lee about one of those nurturing moments. Joseph told Ma in one of their conversations about him doing speeches in front of the class. He sometimes spoke too quietly. Ma told him that when she was young, she was standing on one end of a field and her teacher was on the other end, that she had to speak loud enough that her teacher would be able to hear her. So now, when Joseph has to speak in front of the class, he imagines he's in a field and that he has to speak loud enough so that the teacher on the other side can hear him. Luto, which is cook in Tagalog. In the Webster's Dictionary, the definition is to prepare food for eating. I think by now you all know what a wonderful cook she was, so I won't go further into that. I will miss her ham when going to family gatherings. I will miss her barley soup when leftover turkey. But most of all, I will miss her kare. Hers was just above all the rest. And to show how thoughtful she was, I want to read to you this Christmas card she gave me the year Lee and I got married. It's right here, and it reads, "For beginning such a gentle," I can't read right now. For being such a gentle soul with a heart quick to love and be kind, and for loving a loved one totally and completely, this gift certificate is given to Woody. They call me Woody in the family. This entitles Woody to a lifetime supply of kare, unless medically prohibited, and note 2 days advance notice. Merry Christmas from Mommy. Angelic. In the Webster's Dictionary, the definition is resembling or suggestive of an angel, as in purity, holiness, innocence, or beauty. Ma was all these things, but the one word that stands out is holiness. Holiness was her commitment to serving God through family and our MSC community, and her commitment to prayer. Joseph and Gabriel's room is right above their room. Without fail, they are praying the rosary every night around the time that I'm putting the boys to bed. And whistle. In the Webster's Dictionary, the definition is to give a signal or issue an order. Lee and I have been blessed to live with Ma, or at least close to her, for the 11 years that we've been married. From our first place in Burnaby, to living in the same city of Port Coquitlam, and finally living with us in Coquitlam. In this home, they lived downstairs and we lived upstairs. There were stairs in the house that we can use to see each other. Whenever she had a treat for us or the boys, whenever she wanted to share with us something she cooked, whenever she needed help with anything or just to talk, she would go to the bottom of the stairs and do her unique whistle to get our attention. The whistle came with mystery as to what will come next, but it became such a thing that we couldn't wait to hear her whistle again. Intuition, nurture, luto, angelic, whistle. No, this isn't the next mumble rap hit of 2021 where you just string some random words together to a beat and call it a song. But when it comes to Mom, I see it as a perfect combination of words to describe her. Because if you take the first letter of each word, it spells out in-law. In the Webster's Dictionary, the definition is a relative by marriage. But in Ma Desi's dictionary, though, the word in-law does not exist. When I married into the family, Janine was already with Mick, Mark was already with Ate Kiss, and I quickly learned that through her words and actions, that we were not just 3 in-laws, but equal to the 4 that she gave birth to. After 11 years, I'm still waiting until I'm no longer the newbie of the family. No pressure, Jed. Hi, Ayana. Where there are some parents that will always take the side of their own children, Ma did not. When Lee and I would fight, she would go and vent to Ma. Lee would tell me there were numerous times where Ma would see it my way, tell her to stop being mad at me, and to make up. Before I address Ma Desi directly, I want to thank Dad for giving me a platform to share what she meant to me. Thank you, Dad. I want to also thank you all for your words of support and comfort. Some of you have asked if there's anything that you can do. 2 things, prayer and kare. And I would like to leave you all with a modified version of the Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, that perfectly sums up the person that she was. She was patient, she was kind, she was not jealous, she did not brag, she was not arrogant, she did not act disgracefully, she did not seek her own benefit, she was not provoked, did not keep an account of wrong suffered, she did not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. She kept every confidence, she believed all things, hoped all things, endured all things. Ma, you endured 21 years with your battle with cancer. I was there for 13 years of it. You were a fighter and fought until the very end. I want to thank you for your strength and endurance, because with it, you were able to share with Lee your intuition, and so our journey as husband and wife began. Because with it, you were able to help nurture our 4 boys into the good and respectful human beings they are today. Because with it, I can say I have tasted the best dishes the world has to offer with what you luto. Because with it, you were able to show us with your angelic actions how powerful prayer with the devotion to Mama Mary truly is. And because with it, you brought happiness to our lives with just a simple whistle. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ma. I am forever grateful to be called your son. Please pray for me that I have the same amount of strength and endurance that you had, so that I can use it to lead Lee, Joseph, Gabriel, Emmanuel, Xavier, John Paul, and I to heaven, so that we can see you again. No more pain to endure, Ma. Rest now. I will miss you. I love you.
Okay, it's my turn. One sec. One of my favorite memories that Mom ever told me would be that of my own birth story. I was born on a leap year. I just won't say which one, but according to her, even with a due date of February 24th, she didn't start having labor pains until the actual leap day, February 29th. Because she did not want me to only have a birthday every 4 years. She said she chose to hold me in until the day after. Just from that story alone, you can see what kind of mom she was. Always willing to sacrifice for her children's sake. And throughout the years, the daily selfless acts were never ending, even until the very end. How blessed was I? During her final days, she was clearly in a lot of pain and discomfort. Many of us thought that perhaps she would go home to the Lord on the Friday, August 27th. Well, all I wanted was for Mom to rest and be without any more pain. Something in my heart told me she wasn't going to do that to me on that day. That Friday was Rudy and my 11th wedding anniversary. And I just knew that she wouldn't want me to remember that day with sadness. So she held on for one more day, even if it meant one more day of pain. That's just the kind of mom she was. She put us first, even when in what seemed like trivial matters. During my preschool and primary elementary days, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I can honestly say that those were some of my best years. When I would go to school and the washroom's cleanliness was not up to my standards, I chose to pee my pants instead, which I immediately learned allowed me the privilege to be sent home. I thought it was such a smart move on my end. Needless to say, I was home a lot. Those years have certainly shaped the kind of mom I am to my sons now, and the many decisions I have had to make concerning them. All I wanted as a young child was to be around her. It simply was more than enough for me. In high school, I often lied to my peers that my parents would not allow me to go out at night, when truthfully, I didn't even ask for permission, as I really just wanted to stay home and be with her. We didn't need to do anything extravagant or out of the ordinary. I just wanted to be in the same space as her. Her presence meant the world to me. And all I want now, even as a grown woman, is still to be always around her. When I was around 6 years old, I learned that I was about to become a big sister for the first time. One might think that after being the youngest for many years, I would take this news with jealousy and resentment. Quite the opposite happened, all because my mom presented it in such a way that made the whole idea so exciting. Every day for months, I would read her all the pregnancy books we had at home. I would tell her how the baby looked at this age, what he can do, and all the fun stuff about a growing baby. I reminded her, as the book said at that time, that she wasn't allowed to wear heels. I loved my role as a big sister right from the beginning, because she showed me what a gift it was to be one. Then Jed came, just kidding. Many years later, now that I am the one expecting, nothing much has really changed. Every Wednesday, which is the day the baby gets older according to many pregnancy apps nowadays, she would always ask, "Pilan na ka weeks? How many weeks?" Following up with, "How big is he? What can he do now?" She always ended with, "I am so excited we will have a baby in the house again." We had endless conversations about what John Paul's middle name should be. She and Dad often brainstormed about their thoughts and suggestions until we all end up laughing with silly ones like John Paul, George Ringo. Ma, on the day of your funeral, Mama Mary's birthday, and Jed and Ayana's anniversary, the baby will be 35 weeks old. He is the size of a honeydew and is getting quite snug in there. One of my most precious gifts from Mom would be the comfort of knowing that she and Dad prayed for me and my family all the time, leading up to the birth of our fourth son, Xavier. I was filled with many anxious thoughts because I would recall how I blacked out for a few seconds the last time I was giving birth. One morning, she told me that she had a vision while she was praying the rosary. She said something like, "You were giving birth, and Mama Mary was holding you from the head of the delivery bed. You will be okay." My heavenly mother assuring me through my earthly mother that everything was going to be okay.
True enough, that by far was the smoothest of all my labor and deliveries. And now there he is, he's asleep. A replica of my dad with the personality of my mom. He is quite the guy, friendly to everyone he meets, and entertained his nana by dancing to BTS songs like Dynamite and Butter. Mom would love watching him. She would say, "Kakulba ba?" Or, "Masumbagan man sad taana dong." Like, you could get punched by his dance moves. As a nana, she was truly the best. She loved them all fiercely and uniquely according to each of their needs. She spoiled them, but without compromising our roles as their first teachers and parents. She would often say to my kids, "Be good to your mom, listen to her. Help her and don't make her mad. Remember, she is my baby." I'm very good at this. Emmanuel, or Manu, or as Nana calls him, Man, had wanted to say his eulogy, but like Gabe, decided against it last night and asked me to say it instead. He said, "I miss Nana's whistling. When she whistles, it meant that I could go downstairs to eat Lucky Charms, champorado with bacon, tocino, and pineapple juice. Yes, food is life for that one." Then he proceeded to tell me that I should have asked Nana to teach me how to make her champorado, because it was indeed one of a kind. Unfortunately, son, I did not inherit Nana's cooking talent. And the moment she mentioned tablilla in relation to the champorado ingredients, she just lost me. I'm almost done. In May of last year, as she was watching the boys play, she said to me, "Look at your 4 boys. When will you have your 5th? Well, Ma, here he is. You missed him by a month." "And I am terrified at the thought of having him without you here. But you have taught me by word and by deed to trust fully in the Lord's kindness and mercy. So I will arm myself with that, knowing that everything else that you have taught me seemed to always be the right thing. It's true what they say, mothers do know best. When we hear some good news like a new baby coming or a new job offer or someone's healing, my mom would always first react with, 'Praise the Lord.' When I'm in pain or feeling sick, she would remind me to offer it up to the Lord. In good times and in bad, she always pointed me to the one who loves us most. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for fighting hard until the very end. Thank you for fighting for life. Thank you for being my heart, my soul, my inspiration. You truly are the one who makes me happy when everything else turns to gray. But now you do it through my husband, who is my daily reminder that your motherly instincts were always spot on. And through our sons, who each carry a piece of you in them. I will miss you, and I will always love you so much, Ma."
Can't see. Hi guys, I'm Nana D and Grandpa's 3rd kid, Mick. This is my wife, Janine, Krista, my daughter, not Krista, my son Jaden, Mackenzie, and Shiloh. Shiloh has something to say.
remember I was sleeping over at Nana's house, and I was sleeping there until the dad wake me up, and that's all I wanted to say. Love you, Nana. Nana, I know you're in a safe place now, and you probably are able to hear me. I really miss you, but at least you won't be in pain anymore. It just hurts my heart to not be able to see you because you always had time to hang out with me. I will miss how you helped me with things I could not figure out. You were like a second mom to my siblings, cousins, and myself. I will never forget about the crooked man story that you always did with an accent that always made us laugh. I will miss your smile, so Nana D, I hope you know I will always pray for you, and I will always, always have room for you in my heart.
My eulogy won't include any videos or singing because I don't know how to make videos and I can't sing well. Let's rewind to 2009 when I was born. Although I don't remember much from that time, I will remember them from pictures and videos which our family loved to do. My Nana was such an amazing person. She was the person that got rid of my lisp. Nana taught me so many things that I'm so grateful for. Nana would always make me smile whenever I was feeling down. She was the light of my life. I still remember when I was 5, Nana would pick up my sister and I after school whenever there was a new Skittle flavor, and she would drop us off at 7-Eleven just to get it. Then we would go home and eat it and watch TV together. It was such a charming and fun memory that I have with Nana. I will always miss the times I would sleep over by myself or with one of my siblings at Nana's house. Sometimes when I would sleep over, Nana and I would make polvoron. It was my favorite thing to do with Nana. She would always say, make a mound whenever we made polvoron. I still remember during the pandemic on call, Nana said, Jaden, make sure that after this is all done, you sleep over, okay? And I never got the chance to sleep over, which I am sad about. And it's our sleepovers that I'll miss dearly. Whenever Nana, Grandpa, Tito Jed, and maybe one of my sisters would go to church with them, Nana and I would go play these hand games. I don't really know what to call them. There was this one where she'd say, Sao, Sao, Suka, Maholitea. And when she said Taya, I'd pull my finger out of her hand before she closed it. It was really fun to do at church, and it was either that or I'd fall asleep. And whenever I'd fall asleep, she'd ask, so what did Father talk about? And looking back at it, it was kind of funny because I didn't know. I will always miss the times where we got haircuts, although I didn't really like haircuts that much. But there was this one time where we went to get a haircut with Nana, and I think the style was a comb over. And when I was done, and when I showered, and when my hair was down, I realized that my bangs were on an angle. I don't remember if Nana noticed it, but it was a really funny memory I had with her. Whenever Nana, Grandpa, Ate, and I would eat dinner, and I was in a bad mood, Nana would always make really funny jokes, and I would try to hold in my laugh with an angry face. Yes, my Nana was very funny, and I will miss that. I remember one time we were eating dinner, and we were talking about tattoos, and Nana said, don't get tattoos on your eyebrows, because when you're older, your skin will sag and you'll have thick eyebrows. And then she said, when you're older, your skin will sag even more, and now you're a football player. I'm pretty sure that I laughed really hard. Nana would always scold me on my bad handwriting, but there's this one time I was doing my science homework and she was making fun of how I wrote my A's, and it kind of looked like a U because I didn't connect the top part of the lowercase a. And when she was looking over my homework, she scolded me for it. Nana taught me whenever I'm doing my homework, she said to always write a rough draft before the final copy, and whenever I need to erase, she would tell me to start again on a different paper so it would be more efficient. So guys, in conclusion, I love you so much, Nana. There will be no other Nana as great and as kind as you and funny as you. I am very blessed that God gave us you. I will make sure from now on that you will always see me write Jaden and not Juden.
I remember the first time Nana told me about her cancer. It was on January 6, 2018. We were in McDonald's, just the two of us having lunch. Before I finished eating, she told me everything, and I remember crying in front of a lot of people. Nana and I took a photo on that day, and in the background there was a guy that was photobombing our photo, and Nana kept saying, "You cried in front of that man, now he knows that you were crying." I also remember she said it in a very heavy accent, and it made me laugh. My Nana was a very strong person, probably the strongest person I know. To me, she wasn't just my Nana. She was my best friend, my biggest role model, and a superstar. She always taught me how to be a patient and a forgiving person. Even though I'm not the best at it, I made it my promise to her to teach myself and teach my younger siblings and cousins how to accomplish that. The last card I wrote to Nana mentioned my promises to her, and this is what it read. "Nana, I love you so much, much more than words can describe. I have so much more in life to show you. So can you please keep fighting until my graduation, debut, and maybe even my wedding? If not, I'll just know that you're watching from above. And if I don't get a chance to say goodbye, take this card as my goodbye to you." In a way, she was kind of like a second mother. She would pick us up from school when our parents couldn't, she'd make sure we were fed, and she'd make sure our homework was done. And she'd make sure we could correct our manners when we couldn't tell our rights from our wrongs. With me being the oldest, she had taught me a lot. I also promised her to teach those to my cousins and siblings, teach them how to look presentable, how to be humble, faithful, forgiving, and an all-around good person. I think anyone in here that has tried my Nana's cooking could agree that my Nana's cooking is immaculate. I remember when I was younger, she would teach me how to bake simple things like cookies and cakes. When she thought I was ready, she taught me how to make her famous Filipino spaghetti. Once I got my first serving, I ate it so quickly I was ready for seconds before she had even sat down. Whenever any of us were hungry, she had made it her task to feed all of us. Whether they were cookies or adobo, no matter how many chefs were in the kitchen, she had always wanted more company. Every time we'd make pancakes for breakfast, she'd let us color them with whatever color we wanted. Whenever I'd sleep over, we'd have pancakes, eggs, and bacon, or just cereal. And there was something about it that I never got tired of. I don't know if it's that we would cook it together or that she was just an all-around amazing chef. Simply, I think it's because of the time I spent with my Nana. Because of my Nana, I know so many Carpenter songs. Our song together was Yesterday Once More. She was the person who taught me how to sing. Even though I'm not the best at it, whenever that song comes on, I sing my heart out. Nothing felt better than singing a song with her during family karaoke. Whenever any of the cousins had the mic, she always encouraged us to sing with our hearts. And because of that, we all have a song we get to 100 each time we sing it. And I think it was because of her. No matter what was going on in her life, she had always had the energy to tease us, but when someone else did it, she was there to step in. She made it so that she was the only one allowed to jokingly tease us, and for all I know, we were all okay with it. She had so many stories, and all of them had a very good meaning. She would tell us these stories whenever she'd want us to laugh or get her point across. And sometimes these stories would be completely different than the plot. The story could be about donuts, but her lesson would be to never forget a jacket when you go outside. Whenever we'd go to church together, I would remember she would always play games with us just to keep us awake. It was usually during the homily. The game was Pito Pito. The biggest and most memorable thing she taught me, was this song when I was younger. When I was younger, it had no meaning. It was just a song to me. However, now that I'm older, the meaning is that the artist was reminiscing on her older memories. Every time I listen to this song, I hear her voice, especially at the chorus. I remember that my best friend wanted me to enunciate and sing the song with a smile on my face. I'll be singing the last few verses of Yesterday Once More by the Carpenters. If you know the lyrics, feel free to sing along and don't forget to enunciate. Looking back on how it was in years gone by, and the good times that I had, makes today seem rather sad. So much has changed. It was songs of love that I would sing to then, and I'd memorize each word. Those old melodies still sound so good to me as they melt the years away. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. All my best memories come back clearly to me. Some can even make me cry just like before. It's yesterday once more. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. I know you heard all of that, and I know you were singing and dancing along up in heaven. I love you, Nana. You are my sunshine.
Hey guys, ito na naman.
So I'm Janine, the first daughter-in-law, daughter. I think I've cried the most compared to everybody. Wait lang. Okay. I'm not really good at public speaking, especially speaking in front of everybody, like 100 people. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna cry some more, you guys. game. Ma, miss na kita. I miss you so much that it hurts. I miss your voice. Ma, I miss your voice. I miss you calling me during the day while I'm working from home and just seeing how I'm doing and how the kids are. I'm going to miss your reminder to us about everybody's birthdays because you're the only one that remembers. But now I think Atticus is gonna take over. I'm gonna miss you calling us every time it's the kids' birthday and asking me, Janine, what can we bring? Ano pang kailangan food? Or requests like, Janine, gusto ko yan, hanapan mo ko sa marketplace, okay? I'm gonna miss you taking me out on my birthday. Whether it's to treat me only, at your favorite restaurant, Pasta Polo, or to treat my whole family at Sushi Town. Wala kang kupas, Mom. You were always present no matter the occasion. You're also always the first one there for all my kids' birth. To Krista, Jaden, Mackenzie, and of course even with Shiloh. I remember you and Dad went to Paris that year, and I was afraid that you were gonna miss Shiloh's birth. But you know what? You told her to wait until you got back so you'd see her being born. And you didn't forget the authentic Ladurée macarons I asked for. You still managed to bring some home for me. And it's the little things I'll remember and cherish forever. I'm gonna miss your yummy home-cooked meal. The random champurrado and bacon and condensed milk you'd send us so we'd have breakfast. Not that we don't have breakfast, you guys, we do. And most especially, I'm gonna miss yung favorite ko na lagi mong ginagawa tuwing birthday ko and every time I request it. Yung pieza, which I regret not learning. Please, mga titas.
What?
If you know how to make pieza, teach me. Because I really want to learn it. Ma. Ayan, I'll try to learn it, Ma, okay? So that every time I miss you, I'll just make it. The first time I met Mommy Desi was back in 2006 when Mick brought me to meet her and Dad. I was so scared because one, he was my first longtime boyfriend, and two, I've never met the parents. But that fear turned into joy because meeting her was like a breath of fresh air. At one point, in the first couple of months that Mick and I were together, apparently Mommy asked Mick what kind of Christian I was. And he said Pentecost. But of course, the joker that Mom was said, Are you sure? Not Janine the Baptist? So that kind of stuck as a joke for a bit. I know I keep saying it, but she really does have a big heart. And is such a wonderful person, always asking how I am and seeing, if I'm okay or the kids are okay. In 2007, she and Dad took me in after having Krista so that I'd save on rent. You see, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 21. And up to the point of giving birth, I was living on my own downtown. They knew it'll be hard for me to live alone with a baby. So Mom and Dad offered their home to me, even gave me their room so that I'd be comfortable staying there. I mean, that alone, that point, I felt like part of the family. They treated me like their own since day one. At one point, I lived with the Garcias and the Nerys together. Mom never made me pay for rent. The first time I was living with them, that's how generous she was, her and Dad. She never asked for anything in return. And she wasn't only nice to her family, but also to her friends she considered family. And quoting Aya's eulogy the other day, it's the small act of kindness that she does that will be forever in our hearts and memories. From the smallest request to the biggest, she'll make it to a point that it's done or they're there. I had this photo booth at St. Patrick's School Fair in Vancouver back in 2018, or 2019, I think, where I was promoting my then photography business. And Mom and Dad came to show support. And when I think about it, Mom was already in stage 4 of cancer, but she still came. No matter how tired she was there. And everyone is right in their past eulogies. It made me feel special in my own way, in the way she would make me feel. The last time she came out on my request was Shiloh's birthday. We did it at the park by her house, and it was hot that day, too hot for her condition. She was already using a cane. But you know what, no matter how much pain she was in, her and Dad came to be there for their granddaughter's 5th birthday. That was the last time she ever came to one of the parties I hosted. And had I known that, I would have thrown a party for Jaden, Kenzie, Mick, myself, and Krista all together this summer. I would have traded that for a camping trip. Sorry, Ma, I would have traded everything just for you to be there. I remember when we lived with them in 2014, when Mick is procrastinating about something silly actually, that I would find annoying. I would go knock on Mommy and Daddy's door in their room, and Mom would say, "Come in, lagi." And then I'd come in, see Daddy on his laptop, laying in bed, and Mom next to him reading or watching TV. And just like that, I'd be able to confide in them. Actually, more like tattling. Sorry, babe. And then he'd get in trouble, or pagkasabihan siya ni Bobby pag-uwi niya. It was cute, actually. But yes, I was able to confide in them and talk to them about anything. And if I needed advice, they were always there. I miss how Mom Baby talks to all her kids. And I mean us kids, not grandkids. And Mom would say something in the lines of, Hindi po kayo kumakain. And then one of us would say, kung sabi mo, huwag ka mo din, hindi mo na kami kukain. I actually talked about this to Ateli and Mick last week when we were doing the novena prayers. I loved Mom's sopas de ajos. So I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but sopas de ajos is garlic soup. And it was an ongoing joke saying, sopas de ajos, 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 os, 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 os. So it's an inside joke for all of us. Os, 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 os. Naunahan ako ni Kuya Francis last week. Pero talaga, Mom, I miss your bacalao every Holy Week. The one with the bread, fish, beans, and olive oil. I'll miss your ham that I never got to eat because I don't eat ham. So pictures na lang siya, you guys. And I'll miss your style of sinigang and your style of champorado because yours is not so soupy. I'll miss your paella. I'll miss so much of your cooking. And it sucks that I'll never get to taste it again. One of the last long conversations we had was back in April when I got Shiloh and Mackenzie at IC Delta. For the longest time, Mom wanted my kids to be going to a Catholic school. So telling her that news, she was so happy. And she said, "Call ka later so you can tell Daddy." So I did. And they were both happy. And right when I got their uniform, I sent a picture to show to Mom. And then a week later, I told her that Krista got it to Holy Cross. So she was super happy, of course. Pero sad siya because Jaden is gonna stay one more year at his current school. But be ready, Jaden, because next year. I have a lot of other things to say, but I know it's getting too long. So, Ma, I'm just gonna read this to you pag tayo na lang. Pero hindi ko talaga makakalimutan. On your last day, the Friday, when I came to see you, I wasn't supposed to because Mick said visitor hours is over. But I pushed him to go. So we went, and I was able to say my final goodbye. And the way you held my hand so tight, it felt like you were agreeing with everything that I said. I kept kissing you, your hand, your forehead, and praying that you'll beat this, Ma. You'll beat this. I claim that you will beat this. You will get up and we will go home tomorrow. But God had other plans. So eventually I told her, "Ma, I have to go na. Your favorite is downstairs, waiting for me to finish so he can see you." But before I do, I want to take a pic with your hand because you know I love taking photos. And that's when I took the photo, which I posted the following day. I love you, Ma. No more pain. Be the best for us up there. Thank you for giving me one of the best 15 years of my life and for giving me 8186. In the last 15 years that I've been with this family, who is also musically inclined, Papa, Tita Effie, Trina, and Dad, who can play the instruments, Mom, Atikis, and Kuya Mark, who can sing, Jed and Ateli, who can play the guitar like Dad, and Rudy, who I also recently found out play the piano and organ. I ended up with the one that cannot do any of those. But in saying that, every time we sing for Mom, whether it's in her kitchen or in family gathering, she always praises my voice. Kahit sintonado. Remember, Ma, December 20th, 2016, as we celebrated our Vivo Christmas party, last na to promise. I got you as my baby for Secret Santa, and part of my gift was I sang you Christmas in Our Hearts by Jose Marichan. And you must have liked it because guess what? I will sing you a song as my final song for you. Remember you asked me on August 15th, anong theme song natin? So kahit off-key, Mommy, this one's for you. And I'm glad I was able to sing it before you had left. So here it is. Ma, sing with me, Kay. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Why do stars fall down from the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they long to be that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair, of golden starlight in your eyes are blue. That is why all the kids in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair, of golden starlight in your eyes are blue. That is why all the kids in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Gihugugma, tikama, pahulay na ka ha. Pagkibantayak kami sa langit. Salamat kaayo sa tanan ma. Mingon gyud mi sa imo. Thank you.
I just want to make it clear that we feed our kids. Okay, because every story is coming up is of Nana giving us food. So I just want to make it clear we feed our kids. Jose Mario Francisco Marfori Nery. My full name alone took seconds off my eulogy already. So Mick will suffice. I'm the third of Paco and Ana Desi's 4 kids, but number 1 in their eyes. And to be clear, I was the baby that Ateli was getting ready to care for. Okay, so where do I begin? To be honest, writing this started easy. But as the novena went, the topics that I wanted to choose to touch on were getting picked left and right. So I was thinking, how or what else can I share about my mom? Well, I guess it's by singing. Thank you. Singing our theme song, If We Hold On Together by Diana Ross, from the movie Land Before Time, which was our movie. But I realized if I sang, then I'd just be showing off. Something that my mom told me not to do. And that talent, my mom begged me to keep forever hidden from people. And that it was a talent the world wasn't ready for. Growing up in Manila, she watched all my basketball games. And since she worked for Coke, she hooked up the team with a cooler of Powerade drinks every single game. And I think that's the only reason why my team was complete to 15 players, because my teammates would always go, Tita Desi, is there more Powerade? They came for the wrong reason. I vividly remember 2 plays where I saw my mom cheering for me from the stands. One was chasing down an opponent on a fast break, and when he jumped, I matched him and got the block. As the guy fell, I stared him down for a few seconds and looked at the crowd for my family's approval. And there was my mom, smiling, clapping, and giving me one of these. We lost that game. The second one was a rare time, was a rare performance because I was draining threes and getting in for layups. I remember I shot my first three, and when it went in, I backpedaled looking at the crowd, and there she was, with no fail, my mom, my biggest fan, smiling while nodding her head, clapping. We also ended up losing that game. But there was a competition, well, two actually, that she played a very key role in. Of all things, it was for the school's oral reading. When I told my mom I entered my first year, she said something in the lines of, it's probably in Bisaya, but to paraphrase, it was more like, oh, that's exciting. I was a champion at that as well. So as the competition day came, I read my piece, and when I finished, I just knew I won. And surprise, surprise, I did. That was because of her training. The following year, I entered again and read the speech by Patrick Henry, which was famous for the line, "Give me liberty or give me death." When my mom found out that that was the piece I was reading, she stopped what she was doing and started drilling me hard again. We practiced, and practiced some more, till I was in tears performing for my sisters for an audience. But boy did it ever pay off, because not only did I beat older kids in my school, or the fact that I won back-to-back, it was the joy I saw in my mom's face when I won. That was my mom. She supported me in whatever I wanted to get into, no matter what she had my back, even in singing. These past few nights, I've heard so much stories about how big her heart was, how caring and how loving she was. I saw all that when, despite her condition, she would still take the time to play with her grandkids. It might be for 5 minutes or as long as an hour, but during those moments, she would go all out for them. It would just be Nana and her grandchildren uninterrupted. From telling stories to tickle fights, which she does to me, Jed, and any of my siblings at our age, it's weird. Or even just feeding them. It was moments Nana never passed up on. If she had it her way, she would have housed all our kids along with my sister's kids. She just loved being around them, which doesn't surprise me because she came from a big family. One skill that was often repeated these past few nights was how amazing of a cook she was. With my mom, there was no 1 cup of this, 8 ounces of that, a third of this, half of that. It was all tansya lang. There was this time my mom asked me to get meat for liempo to grill. When I reviewed her list of what to buy, she also explained how to ask for the meat from the butcher. Hingi ka ng pork belly and have him cut it na there. So I go, okay, Mom, but what's the thickness? She shows me a hand gesture and said, just do that and show them. So I go and talk to the butcher, hey, 3 slats of pork belly and cut it into strips with this thickness. That was my mom. She would just expect everyone to know what that was. And to my surprise, the butcher knew what she meant. I don't know how she does it, but when she's done cooking, the result is always a mouth-watering masterpiece. Oh, and since we're talking about food, we should probably talk about how important proper dining etiquette is for both Nerys and Marforis. Mom would never forget to remind us how to hold the utensils, how to chew your food and not sound like a goat, and how to be excused off the table when you're done. Another trait my mom had was how articulate she can be in telling a story. One that is stuck in my head was the Lolo Ed War story. So apparently, Lolo Ed got stabbed by a blade that was attached at the end of a rifle that had gone through from the left hip, came out the right side. So as a kid who played guns with my cousins, I was like, yo, my Lolo Ed, who I never got to meet, he went to war and, it's bayoneta is what it's called, right? He got one of these and survived and carried, saw my sisters and all these things, right? So I was in awe to only find out it was actually just a birthmark that was on one side of the next one. But that was my mom. I think, if anything, I think she learned it from Lolo Ed on how to tell stories like that. So to me, I was like, oh, wow. How can you top that? Another skill she had was that she can apparently speak fluent Chinese. With how times is now, I'm not going to do it. Just clearly another white lie, but if there's anyone that could pull it off, it would be her. I know of people who had cancer, but I only know of one that fought for 21 years. Talk about being a fighter. She mustered up the strength to still go to work while getting treatments, to spend time with her grandkids while being tired, being on her feet to cook and bake just so that there is something to eat, or for when my dad gets home, or when Jed decides to eat at 1 o'clock, there's food, 1 o'clock in the morning, there's food in the fridge. Galing mo talaga, ma. Awkward silence. I'm going to miss the random calls asking for, oh, when are you going to come pick up your pesa? When are you going to come pick up your champurrado? Don't forget the baunan. How are Krista and the kids? Be the best at work. Or more recently, please pray for me, don't forget, okay? I couldn't agree more with all the things that was said about my mom. She never had to try hard for anyone. It just came natural. She didn't need to fit in. People gravitated towards her. You can throw all the problems in the world at my mom, and she wasn't going to quit, nor was she going to question God's plan. That's just my mom. There's no quit in her. Tita Bembem was right when she said her faith was greater than her fear. Pasensya nakalat-kalat to because I didn't really finish this till around 4 o'clock in the morning. Tito John and Tita Connie from the Philippines was helping me out. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, that's right, Jed, I'm quoting the Bible. And without faith, it is impossible to please him. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. Jed, pa-explain na lang mamaya. Ma, although I miss you, I know you are no longer in pain. I'm thankful for the time we spent together, and I'll forever cherish that. I feel truly blessed that my kids had a nana like you. I will do my best to make you happy. Don't worry about Dad, as we will take care of him here. I know and feel you are up in heaven. Dancing with Lolo Ed, singing with Lola, cooking with Tita Menchi, and talking to Kobe about me. Rest ka na, Ma. Kami na bahala dito. Salamat sa lahat. You've taught everyone here well. Even Ateli when she hosts. I will never forget you. I will forever be grateful. When we are out there in the dark, we'll dream about the sun. In the dark, we'll feel the light. Warm our hearts, everyone. If we hold on together, sorry, I'm really hungry. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. Dreams see us through to forever. As high as souls can fly, the clouds roll by. For you and I love you, no goodbyes, till we see each other again. Also, we finished the move, Mom. Tapos na lahat. I love you, Mom.
Hello, everyone. I know if you're doing the math, you'll see, kalahati pa lang ng pamilya namin yun. But I assure you, those are the two bigger families. We truly thank you for indulging us, for spending this time with us. I know the night is going long. And when we were talking about preparing for our eulogies, we had initially given ourselves time limits. We said, okay, 7 minutes here, 3 minutes for the kids, and all that. But then when we were preparing them, we all realized we only get to do this once. And we wanted to make it the best possible. So we thank you for indulging us, allowing us to give our last messages for our mom. So my name is Kiss. I am the oldest, and you've heard from my two other siblings. With me here is my husband, Mark, my daughter, Faith, my son, Lucas. Our youngest son, Oliver, is not having such a good afternoon, evening, and he's outside just getting some fresh air. He was Nana's phone pal, being that the bulk of his ability or his age where he's able to converse has been during COVID. He and Nana have been video call mates for the last couple of years. To start, my son Lucas just has a few words to share.
Nana, you were always so funny and kind. I will miss talking to you. You were the best Nana ever. Thank you for being there for me. I love you, Nana.
Good job.
Dear Nana, you were the most sweet, kind, and thoughtful person I have ever known. You were very talented in many things, especially cooking and singing. I will never forget the time that you scored 100 when no one else scored 100 in karaoke one night. I will also never forget when you and Grandpa used to take Lucas and I to White Spot because you'd always get the drinks that we loved and it was always really fun. You always made yummy banana bread. It was the best. I know that you left the recipe with Daddy and the leche flan recipe with Mommy, but I don't think it will ever taste the same. I do want to learn these someday, and I will ask my parents to teach me so I can remember you. I know I was named after you, and I really like that. In the many pictures we have taken together, people say that we look alike, especially with our glasses, and I think that's cool. I have a picture of you in my room, which I have shown you before, so I will always remember you. I'm glad that you were able to watch me win a gold star in speech arts. I hope this makes me a little more like you, because you won all those oratorical competitions when you were younger. I will also join speech arts again this year for you. I want to tell you that I'm thankful for every single gift you have gifted, for all the jokes you have ever told, for all the food that you have ever made, and for all the love you have given us. I would also like to say that I will miss everything about you, and that all of our holiday gatherings and fam jams will never be the same without you and your cooking. One last thing I would like to tell you is that our whole family will do everything that we can to remember you. My cousins and I will always share our memories of you with each other and play the games you taught us like animal birdfish. Whenever we eat the food that you taught our parents how to make, we will always think of you. I love you, Nana. I miss you, and until we meet again, love, Faith.
Good evening to everyone here. Good afternoon to everyone in Australia, and good morning to everyone in the Philippines. Or, as Mommy Desi would say, good evening to everyone gathered here. Good afternoon to everyone in Australia. At maayong buntag sa mga taga-Pilipinas. My name is Mark, and I am the eldest son-in-law of Mommy Desi, and arguably the favored one. I know that Rudy over there is looking at me and he wants to argue that. One of the earliest memories of Mom was at a time when Kiss and I had just started dating. I was invited, or maybe I actually invited myself, to have a lovely dinner with the whole family. As it was back then, it was so easy to have a conversation with Mom about anything related to food and music and everything in between. So while preparing, one of the topics was about love. I had asked her, is love a choice? And to which her response was, yes, but wait lang. Dad, halika dito. May question sa'yo si Mark. Man, what was I thinking? I was just trying to make small talk. And I felt then what I feel now as I stand here with cold sweat, sweaty palms, and that sick to the stomach feeling as Dad is looking at me and I'm looking at him in the corner of my eye. Back then, Dad was known as the revered as a revered Tito Paco / Kiss's dad within the CFC SFC community which we were in. Nowadays, he is simply known as the revered dad. Looking back, this really sums up what Mom is all about. She chose to give and exude love unconditionally each and every day of her life, in spite of her pain and suffering, even up to her last breath. I think that Mom would have been a great chef as she had many Michelin-rated qualities. She was as tall and funny as Julia Child, more beautiful than Giada de Laurentiis, and as focused and fierce as Gordon Ramsay, minus all the swearing. I had the pleasure and honor to stand alongside her inside a kitchen in the few times I was able to join a special occasion. I would volunteer to chop and slice anything she needed and to carve the roasted meats and or to wash dishes just so I could see how she does things or ask, how do you make that, Ma? In my professional opinion, her adobo and kare-kare are among the best I ever had, and I know that Rudy would second this one. And just like Rudy and Jay, I am a witness to Mom's warm and welcoming heart as as she treated me as one of her own children and my family as her family. She was a wonderful comadre to my mom, always caring and vibrantly sharing endless stories with her. She had also welcomed my extended family into her heart. In 2009, Mom had visited my family in the Philippines, and my aunts and uncles were just in awe of how beautiful of a person Mom is, inside and out. Ang swerte naman ni Mark sa kanyang biyanan, was their comment. Yes, I am lucky and blessed to have you as a second mom. Thank you, Kaayo, for all the wonderful memories we have shared. You will forever be in our hearts, and your legacy will live on. Your life will serve as an inspiration to us all, and your love shall serve as a beacon of hope that one day we will see you again and have a much awaited Fam Jam with you. Rest in peace now, Mom. We love you. We will miss you. Thank you. At this point, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mami Desi's eldest daughter and my revered wife, Kiss.
Thank you, thank you. After me, there's only one more. Okay, so good day again to everyone. Good evening to all of you present here with us. Thank you for joining us over the last 9 days, and especially tonight. Knowing that I would be speaking today about Mommy, over the last 10 days I've kept going over in my head what I would want to say, recalling my memories amidst a roller coaster of emotions that included pain and sorrow, mixed with a lot of gratitude and longing, and yes, admittedly, still some disbelief. How can you be gone, Ma? And yet I know it to be true and believe it to be part of God's plan. Because just 3 weeks ago, on August 15th, we were still all together and complete in your room, by your bedside, taking a family photo, which would turn out to be the last time our family would be complete. Since then, the days unfolded as perhaps they were meant to, And I lived through each agonizing day, so I know it was real. While a lot of it seems like a blur, it is all still very vivid at the same time. These were days that I know have changed me forever. When I was in grade 6, a classmate of mine lost her mom unexpectedly. I watched my classmate cry, and the rest of us tried to comfort her. It was one of my earliest recollections of that feeling of fear, of one day losing one or both of my parents. I've always foolishly believed that my parents are going to live forever. And honestly, until these recent years, I still held on to that in my heart. Each year with more desperation, with more wishful thinking. There was just no world that I could be living in where they were not there. And yet today as I stand here, Ma, you're no longer with us. And my heart is broken forever. You would think that after watching her battle cancer for 21 years, and especially in these last few years, I would have been somewhat prepared for the inevitable. But I still recall the numbness I felt all over when she finally passed, and the excruciating pain soon after that. I don't think anyone could ever prepare to lose their mother. Listening to the eulogies delivered for Mommy over the last 9 days of prayers, I heard so many stories recounted from her childhood, her youth, and her young adult life, and anecdotes about her professional life and service to the Lord, and of course of her roles as friend, sister, cousin, and everything in between. Some of the memories I could relate to because I was there, and many I was just now discovering about my wonderful Mommy. The stories and situations were all different, but I realized that the ways in which Mom was described was consistent. She was a beautiful, multi-talented, funny, confident, kind, thoughtful, generous, welcoming, God-fearing woman who excelled at everything that she did. And she was really all that. But more so, she was also authentic. Because while she exuded all these qualities to all of you, she was the exact same way to us, even when no one was looking. When Mom hosted gatherings, the food would always be excellent, and there would always be more than enough for everyone to take home. The setup would also be impeccable. Decorations and table settings were carefully planned, serving platters and spoons properly laid out. She would manage to get all these ready and still be able to get herself ready as well, and would always look so perfectly made up for whatever the occasion was, just in time for the guests to arrive. Consistently, growing up in our homes in Cagayan de Oro, Dagupan, Burnaby, Manila, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, our regular family meals also consisted of delicious food, proper table settings, serving platters and spoons, and more importantly, correct table manners. My cousin Kuya Gadot and I were reminiscing just a couple of weeks ago that she always reminded us to hold our utensils properly when we were little. Now, as a mom to my 3 kids, whenever I hear myself saying, "Hold your spoon properly," or "chew with your mouth closed," or the favorite, "Don't talk when your mouth is full," I recall that it was Mom who ingrained these in me. And it wasn't because she was stuffy or pretentious. It was because she wanted us to learn the right way of doing things, as a mother should teach her children. For this, I am grateful. It's been well documented that Mommy is indeed very talented in singing, speaking, and cooking, among many other talents. I would like to shamelessly believe that I inherited some of her musical talent. And in fact, my taste in music is largely influenced by her. No, I won't be singing tonight, guys. My kids, for the early part of their lives, only knew Carpenter songs because I would sing those to them while putting them to sleep. Growing up, I always relished in the opportunities to learn a song that she would request and sing it for her. What I would give to be able to learn and perform a new song for you again, Ma. As already mentioned in previous eulogies, Mommy was an oratorical champion and a naturally gifted speaker. While I did not myself earn any national titles like her, she did coach me towards 3 gold medals of my own in declamation in grades 1, 3, and 7, each at a different school because we moved around quite a bit in my elementary years. I remember the grueling practices before each competition, but she was never mean or stringent. In fact, she was patient, gentle, and encouraging. I was so happy that she got to see my daughter Faith earn a gold star in speech arts for her nana. Kaliwat gyud. She truly wanted us to excel and worked very hard to set us up for success. I don't really think this was for bragging rights because that wasn't her style. But it was just a genuine desire to push us to reach our own potentials. She was always very supportive of whatever we wanted to do in our lives and never imposed a particular career on us. Basta we are happy, she would be happy. All throughout my schooling, my involvement in high school and college theater, my service in then Singles for Christ, missionary work, she was always there to support me. I even remember when I worked as one of the administrators of a summer exchange camp for international students based out of UBC. I lived in the dorms at UBC for 6 out of the 8 weeks of summer. It was very long hours, and I would plan to go home or attempt to go home once a week to Coquitlam, but I would fail to do so most times just out of sheer exhaustion. As there would be no time for laundry, no, she did not do my laundry for me because she always taught us to be responsible for our own chores. She went shopping for new underwear for me instead and would drive for an hour to UBC to bring them to me. Kahit man lang daw yun malinis. She probably didn't understand nga nung pinatsana to akong trabaho. But she supported me as best as she could anyway. And speaking of chores, I'm thankful that she made sure I learned my homemaking skills when I didn't have to growing up in Manila. As a young girl, she showed me how to wash our clothes, both by hand and using a machine. Unsaon paghayhay, plancha o pilo sa sinina, how to set a table, and would take me with her on early Sunday mornings para manyangge sa farmer's market in Cubao. She has been described as princess-like by earlier eulogists, but there she was, up at the crack of dawn, sakay og jeep, baklay og layo, tabok og edsa, kamulo, alsa sa gipalit, and yes, Mika, haggling her suki for every peso. I remember thinking, ang galing-galing niya. She taught me the basic skills of chopping, sautéing, seasoning, serving, and as I grew older, I learned the actual recipes that were passed down to her. All these I learned but didn't have to practice while living in Manila. But boy, did they come in handy when we moved to Canada and suddenly had to do everything on our own. I was so glad I somehow knew what to do. I just needed to practice. And now having a household of my own, I can say Mommy Desi's fingerprints are all over how I keep my home. Well, I don't do it as well as she did, but it's inspired by her. Mommy was a whiz in the kitchen. Not a witch, Mommy, hindi ko witch. Ma, sorry, ma. Ma, dili lagi ka witch. Mom was a whiz in the kitchen, and it always... It was always intimidating, but she was never boastful or selfish about her cooking abilities. I was happy to have learned to make many of her signature dishes, but would always be nervous to hear her verdict on how I fared when I attempted to make them by myself. She was always so gracious to say, lami, but I don't know if it was true or if she just didn't want to discourage me. I will go with her authentic nature and choose to believe that she really did think what I made was up to her standards. In the last couple of years, while she was undergoing her most aggressive cancer treatment, most times was too weak to cook, and especially after the onset of COVID in March 2020, I was grateful for the opportunity to cook her favorite meals for her and Dad. I couldn't do it every day, but I tried to deliver to their home a few days a week, and Lee, Tita Effie, and Ina pitched in on the other days. With our foremost desire to protect her compromised health, and with no vaccines yet available until early this year, all that Mark, the kids, and I could do was leave the food hanging on their doorknob, stand back 2 meters from the door when she opened it, and chat with her briefly from afar with our masks on. Each time after we left, she would take a picture when she ate what I made and send it to me with a compliment, or video call me while she was eating to show her appreciation. As you all know by now, she was just wonderful like that. The kitchen is also where she and my husband Mark, who is a chef by profession, found many things to bond over. They talked about food celebrities, pots and pans, knives, and all the recipes they wanted to try and places they wanted to visit together someday. She taught him all her baking recipes because she knew that I didn't particularly enjoy baking. It means the world to me that she and Mark had that special bond that was all their own, as I know she did with Rudy and Janine as well. As mommy and Nana, she was very understanding, and yes, even forgiving. She understood that Mark and I decided to live in another city about 45 minutes away after we were married. It meant that we did not get to see her as frequently as we would have wanted. But she never resented this. She was happy to let me spread my wings and make a home where my husband was. Just like she left Cagayan de Oro in her mid-20s with her 2 young girls in tow to follow Dad where his career took him. She never once told us that we didn't come to see her often enough. Probably a small detail to many, but for a mother trying to raise young children and juggle all the appointments and events that they come with, support her husband, keep a good job, manage a home, and maintain my service to the parish and spend time with my family, it meant the world to me that she just understood. I know she missed us, especially the kids, when she didn't see us, but there was never any pressure from her. She knew I was doing my best to juggle every aspect of my life and supported me by just always being grateful for the time we were able to spend together. Ma, I will always be thankful to you for this. You always made every visit special, not just with the food or the laughter, which was a given, but just with your ability to meet us where we were and make a real connection with each of us, no matter our age. The busyness of life never diminished the quality of her relationship with me, Mark, and my children. She didn't need to spend all that time with them for their bond to be special. It just was, because of who she was. They always just connected and picked up where they left off, be it in person or on video call. It was never forced, just Nana's love radiating everywhere. That was one of her many gifts, and that's why we feel her loss so profoundly. Mommy always made us laugh. Many of you have attested to her quick wit and ability to turn something ordinary into the most hilarious thing ever. She was like that in big events, and she was also like that when it was just us, as you saw in the foot spa home video from 2 nights ago. She was a natural entertainer, and she used her talents in impersonation and wordplay and her very sharp memory for names to create unforgettable funny moments. Such was her humor that in her final weeks, when the cancer had spread to her brain and affected her ability to speak coherently, she gamely laughed at herself when the words that came out of her mouth were not what she meant to say and it did not make any sense. She would let out a chuckle as soon as she realized it, and we would just laugh together trying to figure out what it is that she was trying to say, like a game of Pictionary, but in real life. Even in her most difficult struggle, she continued to make us laugh. Mommy was truly beautiful, and she had excellent taste in fashion, food, and all things in general. This is probably one interest we did not always share, and that I never really took an interest in getting dressed up or putting makeup on. And yes, Trin, whenever she said or tell us to never leave the house with our hair wet, I would always be the chronic offender, still to the day. Sorry, Ma. Growing up, she would always tell Lee and I, magpagwapa ka mo. Not because pangit kami, but because she always believed in looking your best. She didn't put an effort into her appearance because she was vain or concerned about her image. She just always wanted to make sure she was her best self before God and others, and that included looking her best. In recent years, she was always concerned about what photos of her were posted because she wanted to make sure she looked her best in them. I remember on my birthday this past July, I wanted to take a selfie with her, but she initially refused, saying, "Ayaw, kay pangit ko." I assured her the photo would only be for me, and she later on agreed. Ma, I told you this then, and I'll say it again. You were never not beautiful. In fact, in those final days, without your wig or any makeup, was when I think your beauty shined the most. With everything laid bare, the grace and courage by which you accepted God's will for you reflected God's beauty and strength. Ikaw ang pinakagwapa sa tanan, Ma. For tonight, Lee, Janine, and I got you a new outfit. We picked your most favorite accessories and brought you your most controversial evening shoes. May story yung evening shoes. when she was in the Philippines one time for a happy occasion, and there was a formal occasion, she needed evening shoes, which is what they call dress shoes, I guess there. She went into the SM in Cagayan de Oro, and she walked in and said, and of course the very friendly retail staff walked in, "Ma'am, sir, ma'am, unsay mong gipangita, ma'am? What can I help you find, ma'am?" "Ah, yes, meron kayong evening shoes?" "Evening shoes? Unsa evening shoes, ma'am? Ano yun?" But she got her evening shoes, and that's what she has in there. I hope you're happy, ma'am. Together with all of our family here and abroad, we have been working to give you the best send-off ever. Beautiful, classy, elegant, and full of love, as would only be fitting for you. We know you wouldn't have it any other way, and we hope you are happy with everything up there in heaven. Lapit na. Mom had a unique relationship with each of us, her children, and I now understand that she tailored that relationship to each of our personalities. I was always independent like her. I tried to figure things out for myself and not ask for help until I absolutely had to. When I was a new mom, Mommy never stood over my shoulder and imposed her way of doing things. She was, after all, more experienced, having raised 4 kids herself. She was just there, ready to answer any questions, but never told me I was doing things wrong. She was even amused at new contraptions for babies, like bathtub seats, a special towel just for burping, wasn't that just lampin? And the diaper genie, wasn't that just balde? Ma, thank you for letting me figure things out for myself all my life. You know, I only had the confidence to do that because I knew you were right there, ready to come to my rescue if I needed it. And you did, many times throughout my life. Mommy's and my bonding time always revolved around acts of service. Perhaps that was our shared love language. A lot of my memories with her include preparing for big family events where there had to be chores to be done, ordering food, organizing schedules, or driving her to her treatment appointments and taking her to get her first wig styled. In the last year, it was cooking for her and bringing her whatever she asked for: food, clothes, baby shampoo, even planting flowers and vegetables this past spring that she will now never get to pick. Anything she asked for. Like me, Mommy never asked for help until she absolutely had to. Even when it must have been so hard on her body, she insisted on getting up to do things herself, even attempting to cook on a few occasions, asking me to prep everything to make it easier. It was such a privilege for me to help her with things she could no longer do herself as her illness progressed. I enjoyed being the one nagasuguon to buy specific ingredients and always left her house on cloud 9 whenever she said I got the items right. Bisan pork batra, o liempo, or hopia, or even a papaya that was just at the right point of ripeness. If she was happy with it, I would be floating on cloud 9 driving home. That was how Mommy and I related to each other. Iya kong suguon or manyahan ko niya, and I would be so excited to attend to her request. It brought me so much joy to do the things for her, because she always appreciated it. But Ma, you know I was always happy to do it. And I will always wish that I was able to do more. That's how our love was. All my life, especially these last couple of years, I wanted to be there for you. Everything that I've ever done for you was my way of showing you my love. And thank you for allowing me to do them. Caring for you this past month, packing up your things for what would have been a big move, being with you in those last few days and nights at the hospital, wanting to keep you comfortable, and even in the days since you left us, making sure I was present and that my siblings and I were involved in every detail that went into celebrating you and honoring your memory. All of these are my one last gift to you, Ma. You deserve all of it and more, Pa. In the minutes after you passed, with Lee, Mick, and Jed and I at your bedside, Dad said, "She fought valiantly to the end, and she was victorious." I agree. Despite how much pain and discomfort you were in, you never once complained. You never even really wanted to talk about what you were going through in detail. And I know it was because you didn't want your suffering to overshadow what you considered were many wonderful blessings in your life. You truly accepted the cross that God gave you and carried it with such grace and dignity. Armed with your complete trust in our loving Father, you surrendered to God's plan for you wholeheartedly. Kahit alam kong hirap na hirap ka na, you never questioned Him. Watching you overnight at the hospital, holding your hands in mine all night, singing you songs, balik-balik, over and over again, counting the seconds in between your labored breaths, I could not help but admire just how strong your faith was. Fides ka gyud. It was all your faith that gave you courage. You fought so bravely, Ma. Your illness may have bruised and beaten your body, but it never broke your spirit. Taog ka, Ma. Panalo ka. You allowed God's victory to be won in you. You let your life be used for God's purposes, including in death. Panalo ka, Ma. You won. You were truly someone who inspired goodness in everyone, even more so in us who had the front seat to the amazingly full life you led, even though you left us too soon. Your devotion to Dad was second to none. Your love for all of us, your children and grandchildren, can never be replaced. Your affection for your and Dad's parents and siblings never diminished over time and distance. Your kindness to others was always so real. Your faith in God never wavered until your last breath. If I could be even half of everything that you were in my lifetime, I would consider myself so lucky. I will always try to live my life in such a way that would honor everything you stood for and valued, and that which you fought so hard to hold on to until it was finally time to let go. I know where you are now is far better than here. You are no longer in pain, and you are united in God's peace and happiness with Lola Ed, Lola Lily, Tita Menchi, Papa Mario, Gian, and all of our other loved ones who have gone before us. While knowing this gives me comfort, it does not make me miss you any less. Truly, with you gone, life has changed forever. We now try to learn to live under our own new normal, where everything is different and there will always be something missing. It will be difficult, but with the same faith you taught us, we will carry on with you in our hearts. Please just watch over us na lang from heaven, Ma. In your earlier days in the hospital, when you still had short bursts of coherence, one of the last times you spoke to me was when I was about to leave, and you said, "Ayo mo pirmi. I love you, Baya." I will always remember this, Ma. Like I told you in the hours before you left us, I will always be thankful for everything. Kaswerte gid nako na ikaw ang akong mami. I will miss you every day. And we will think of you always. Mag-ayo-ayo mi pirmi. We will take care of each other, and we will take care of Dad. As our song that you chose for us in the 80s goes, nothing's gonna change my love for you. The world may change my whole life through, but nothing's gonna change my love for you. I love you forever, Ma. Pahuli na ka. Thank you.
Good luck. These are my children.
All right. I just want to thank my siblings for sticking to the time limit. I really appreciate that. Especially Ate J. All right. Okay. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. I am Jed, the youngest child of Paco and Desi, and I will read first Ayana's eulogy for Mom, and she's my girlfriend in the Philippines. My only girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. Just making sure. All right. So she writes, "What is grief if not love persevering?" This is a famous one-liner from a Marvel TV series. It was a beautiful quote when I first heard it, but it didn't have that much of an impact on me until Tita Desi said goodbye to us. I got to know her first as the mom of Jed, when he and I were just getting to know each other a few years back. As I got to know Jed, I also got to know his mom through his stories of her. And I also learned of her battle against cancer. Soon enough, praying together for Tita has become a constant thing in our relationship. For the brief time that I knew Tita Desi, she was always that person who was so enthusiastic with the way she talked to me, full of emojis and sweet, thoughtful words, and which always ended, "Thank you for praying for me. I always include you in our rosary every night. Take care, Ayana. Love you." She was so caring and warm that even if was someone whom she hasn't met in person, I never felt like a stranger to her. Towards her final days, she even mustered with her remaining strength to say, "I love you too." Ate Kathy was a witness to that. Back to me on our last video call. And that moment will always be etched in my memory. Tita Desi has carved a special place in my heart that I will forever hold dear just for her. And I know I will constantly long for those could and would have been experiences with her. To be able to hug her, hold her hand, or hear her sing, or crack those witty jokes, or hear her joyous laughter, or even just a taste of her incredible cooking. Oh, what I would give to experience all that. Though brief, the way she touched my life will endure for all time. She said to me in one of our conversations, "I haven't met you yet, but I miss you." Tita Desi, I haven't met you yet, but I will always miss you so much. Grief is love persevering. This grief that even though I will never see her again, the way she loved me and allowed me to be a part of her life will always be something I will hold on to. Till we meet again, Tita, thank you for everything. Love, Ayana. All right, so as for my eulogy, I'm a huge sports and movies fan. And when someone retires in sports, they usually discuss who the next similar superstar is. For example, who is the next Kobe, Jordan, Brady, etc. The answer is no one's like the next Kobe. Or in the movies, when a character passes, the usual trope is people discuss who is the most like that person. You hear a lot of, "You're just like your mom," or "You're just like so-and-so when they were your age." Although predictable, I could not help but think, who will be the next like mom? As cliche as this trope is, I cannot help but add on to this cliche and say, no one will ever be like my mom. But if I had to name someone who is the most like mom, I'm blessed to say I don't have to look so far, nor do I only have one to choose from. Ate Kiss, you will always have mom's compassion, sense of duty, to serve your family, and her generosity. Ate Lee, you will always have mom's humor, tenderness, strong faith, and devotion to our Lord. Kuya Meg, don't look at me.
You said mom.
Yeah. You will always have mom's strength, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And as for myself, well, mom was really good looking. To Kuya Mark, Kuya Rudy, Ate Jay, and Ayana, I just want to thank you guys for loving mom as much as you did. My mom had a mantra throughout her battle with cancer, and that was bona fide, good faith. That was the most admirable feature I thought my mom had. She understood faith. She never selfishly settled with the thought of an outcome that pleased her earthly desires, but rather always surrendered all her suffering to the will of the Lord. That is why I believe she was truly full of life and lived life and was able to live life to the fullest. Because she understood our time on this earth is short, and we should celebrate, rejoice, keep praying, and always express our love for one another. When others would focus on the whys in life, my mother would focus on the hows. Never did she cowardly rebuke and ask, why is this happening to her? But rather ask how she could offer it all to God. Even with the roadblocks this illness created, my mother, filled with devotion, used her limited time of healing to give thanks in holy shrines such as Our Lady of Lourdes or Our Lady of Guadalupe. The human side of me can't help but be frustrated with what has transpired, but I know my mother would tell me to continue having faith in God. The day she passed, a friend of mine who also lost a parent this year said some comforting words that I hold dear to my heart and give me a lot of hope. He said, "Everything in your life gets bigger than your grief at some point." The reason why this line stuck to me is that it's something my mother would say to me when I would be facing my own obstacles. The triumph we feel when we overcome our challenges will always be much greater than the pain we feel in our suffering. Throughout the many heartfelt eulogies during our novena for my mother, so many people shared so many amazing qualities that made up my mom. From her humor, being a good cook, and to what my favorite quality of hers is, and that is able to genuinely connect with others. She was always able to create relationships out of nothing. You can enter a room with strangers and leave as best friends. Her being genuine came through her always remembering details and dates about others. She can be like, "Hey, it's so-and-so's wedding anniversary." I'll be like, "Who's that, Mom?" "Oh, that's your tita's, niece's, husband's, godfather's at their wedding." Okay. So if we forget, especially my dad and I, if we forget to greet you a happy birthday or happy anniversary, sorry, our living directory is no longer with us. And as during the planning of all this funeral stuff, I guess ikaw na Ats, can you just remind us when all these things are? And my mom's memory was really one of her strongest features. So I guess, for instance, I seldom brought my friends over, but she always knew them. So every time I would greet my mom a happy birthday, she would always tell me, "Oh, make sure you greet Darian, also it's his birthday." I'm like, "I know, he's my friend." And I had two childhood friends here, and in elementary school, we were known as the Grovers, because that's where we went to school. And we never used that name in high school for some reason. But when I remember telling her after grade 12 that one of my friends was going to be moving to Summerland. The first thought she had was, "Wow, the Grovers are not going to be complete anymore." I was like, "Dang, you still remember that?" And of course, every time I would hang out with my friends, I would tell them, I'm going to have dinner with so-and-so. She always remembers one of our neighbors, Papa. She always asks about you and your mom. And that's just how my mom was. She always remembers the littlest things. She just always genuinely loved and cared for others. So, because my siblings took their time, I will sing a song. I will end this eulogy with a story that is very famous among my family, which is, I'm the youngest in my family, and so was my mother. So all my pettiness growing up as the youngest, she already knew how to handle that. All my ways of how to get away from school, if I skipped class and all this stuff, she always knew how, she was always one step ahead. And there's one story that's very famous in my childhood, which was, I think I was around 8 years old. And we lived in a compound with all my cousins, and I was asking my mom for something, and she wouldn't give it to me. So me, being the youngest, thinking I'm such a clever 8-year-old, I know how I can get back at her to show that I'm really, really serious with what I'm feeling right now. So I grabbed some Post-it notes, and at the time my mom worked for Coca-Cola, right? And I wrote, "Boo Coke, go Pepsi," and stuck those Post-its all over her dresser, her closet, her bed. And I remember just sitting in my room crying yeah, that will show her. Dinner happens, she doesn't mention it. My parents called me in their room to ask me if I've done my homework and whatnot. I see the dresser, no Post-its are there. And I'm like, and my mom's quiet, it's my dad who's talking to me, and I'm just like, yeah, I showed her. I showed her what's what. And true mom fashion, she ended up getting the last laugh because she ended up telling all my titos and titas who lived there about it, mama and papa. All my cousins knew about it. So the very next day, I would walk up, go Coke, go Pepsi. So, but in fairness though, I actually don't like Pepsi. I love Coke more. So just to set the record straight, Mom, boo Pepsi, go Coke. This pain I feel from this loss will eventually pass. So to honor my mother, I too will have bona fide, good faith. Rest in peace, Mom. Thank you for everything. I love you. So we have a slideshow that we are going to show. No more? Oh, no more slideshow. Just imagine her. And yeah, so.
Wait. Some of us haven't said, and we haven't paid our respects yet. Are we playing this video?
So all those who didn't get to see her, you can quickly say your goodbyes. Sorry, Jeff, you can do your closing.
Oh, that was my closing.
Okay.
There's no slideshow.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Dad. We'll just close because my siblings took it.
Sorry, Jeff.
This is my son.
You have a picture of them. Yeah. So those who need to go and see her can come so that the family can have their final So there are gift bags for everyone to grab on your way out and pay for it. Yes.
Sorry, so the video that Jed was speaking about, he'll just post it. And in the interest of giving the people who weren't able to pay their last respects earlier, we welcome you to come and pay respects if you would like to now. And then on your way out, there will be gift bags, gutom na kayo, with some treats for you on your way out. Thank you for joining us.
This is Carlos. Fiancé ni Mariel. He's big. Nice to meet you. Good friends.
Which one do you want, Dad?
No, that's there.
Which family have the highest family?
You there. That's just come on. That's what I was before they send us out.
I'll just zoom out.
That's why I think Dad should be here.
Please be careful. Yeah, hold me, love. Where's your husband? Can you come closer? I can't take the shot.
Come closer. You.
Right there.
The little kids go in the middle.
No, they come this way.
Yeah, kids can stay in the middle. Okay, sandali ah. Okay, closer, Jed. There's still a spot right there in the center. Okay. I can't see you coming. Closer. Okay, closer. Alright, it's all I can take. Closer, 1, 2, 3, smile. One more, 1, 2, 3. Here. One more, 1, 2, 3. Thanks, honey. Gusto mo kiss kayong siblings? Dad?
Oliver.
Ayun na, sis.